Hello, this is Nikki in Niagara, coming to you from Niagara Falls, Canada. I am now going to do my 2019 planner and journal lineup. This is everything that I am currently working in at this time. The last time I did one of these was in September, and I will try to remember to link to that below. But I noticed that everybody does a January one, well, like a New Year one of these, and since the books I work in changes so rapidly, like the journals, well, maybe not that rapidly, but they do change. I've decided that I'm going to do this in the New Year and in July. So, for planners, I have 3 here that I actually use as planners. And the reason I waited until the beginning of February to do this instead of at the beginning of January when everybody else was, is that I started a new planner, and I started some new stuff, and I wanted to make sure that I had what was going and what was working before I did a planner, like telling you I was using these planners and this is what I was going to use them for, and then like 3 days later saying, well, that doesn't work, and changing to something else. So what I've got here is what I do, and I see absolutely no reason why that will change during the year. So if you're just here for the planners, then stick with me through this, and when I've done these, I will be moving on to journals, and you can go on your way to your next planner video. But I will say that in my journals, I have some planners, but I just use them as a journal, so I've included them with my journals. And I do both writing and arting journals. So, enough of the preamble. Let's get on to my planners. I've used a Big Happy Planner for 3 years. This is my 3rd year, and this is our family planner. It sits in a designated area, a communal area, and it's where my husband and I write down anything that is happening for either one of us, both of us, for our son, or for the whole family. And the book pretty much stays open at, let's find an unused page. The book pretty much stands open at the monthly page like this, and this is where we write it all down. I don't know why I keep using this book, because we don't use the week's pages. It's just, there's no reason for it. We can fit quite a lot in one of these squares, and so that's what we do. Now this year, I did get into some rewind planning, where I did this for several months, and I enjoyed it. It was fun, and I was writing in what happened during the week after the week was over. Not decorating the month. I tried a couple of months decorating the monthly one, but it was just no fun. So this is what I did. But after a while, it just seemed to be redundant, and I decided that in January I wasn't going to do it and see what happened. And I'm now into February, and I am well into not doing anything with the weekly pages. So I haven't filled out February. There's nothing in here. I'm a little bit behind on everything, but only a couple of days. So, yeah, it's only a couple of days into February, so I'm not that far behind. So, yeah, I will not be buying one of these next year. I have decided that for sure. We're going to go back to using a big desk calendar that just does a month by month, and you tear off the page when you're done. That is what, oh, that squeaked on my table. That is what we're going to do for the happy planner. I mean the communal planner. Oh boy, I'm going to have to figure out where I'm going to put all this stuff because I don't have any room. Okay, so then the next one is mini planner, and I have used the mini planner for longer than the big one. I guess probably this is probably my 4th year, and this has been my everyday carry except for this year. I got something new for my everyday carry. So I had already bought this to be my 2019 everyday carry. So I wanted to do something with it, and that's when I decided to use this for my social media tracking. So I post in quite a few places online, but the ones that I really concentrate on are YouTube and Instagram, and that's what I'm counting in here. So starting in January, I started using this, and it's going perfectly fine, and I am continuing to work on it, and will continue. There's no decorating in here, it's just the stats. In the sidebar, I write down what my goal is of how many YouTubes I want to post and how many Instagrams I want to post. At the end of the month, I post my actual stats, and then I answer the question, did I meet my goals? And then every day I put a Y in if I uploaded a YouTube that day, and I put an I in if I uploaded Instagram that day. And then at the end of the month, I put in my followers on YouTube and on Instagram, and I only mark if they went down. Oh, no, that's not true. I put how many each one went up by. And then, during the week, I write down the names of my YouTube spread. So this day I did Daily Creative Journaling TN Volume 8 Flip Through. I uploads on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, which I did this week. So this week I did JWM Happy Mail Art Page. What does JWM mean? Oh, journal with me. I think I used shorthand in here, but not online. Okay, I'm going to have to be careful not to click. These happy planners click and squeak. And then whenever I did an Instagram, I put an I, and I describe what it is. This was a happy planner spread. This was art I had made from a mystery envelope, or a happy mail envelope. And then at the end, I put down what my, so at the end of the month, I put down what my subscribers are at the end of that week. And then the last thing that I do is put an asterisk on Sunday. I put an asterisk on the YouTube that got the most hits. And that's what I do every day, and I have kept that up right up to now. I've got to fill that in, but yeah, so that's working really well for me. Now the exciting thing for me this year is my everyday carry, and this is my everyday carry. It is the Pat Me by Kokuyo. Now you may recognize that name because the Kokuyo is the company that makes the Jiban Techo. Now, when I was looking at Kokuyo's offerings on what they had, I saw this, and it truly, truly inspired me because it had exactly what I want out of an everyday carry. Didn't have anything extra, and it wasn't missing anything. It has exactly what I want. So, first of all, let me show you how this works because it's quite interesting. First of all, the side with the name on it is the back, because this is the cover, which you buy separately from the insides, and I'll explain how that works in a second. The pen loop here is one that I put on myself. I'm not too thrilled with this one because it's a heavy metal and leather clip. I've ordered some of those little plastic ones, which I hope to put on here instead. So this is the back, and this is the front. Took me several weeks to remember to pick it up this way. So that was at the front. Now, how does this work? This is amazing on how this works. What you get are 12 individual pamphlets, which look like this. And they are dated 1 through 12. This year was the first year that they put them in colors. So each year is a different color. Not that you actually ever really see the front covers when the book is in use the way that you would use it. So you buy them separately. You buy a package of the covers, and then you decide if you want the hardcover. I would certainly suggest having the hardcover unless you only want to carry 1 month around with you. The book is, the cover, I should say, to separate it from the booklets. The cover is made so as to carry 2 books at a time. And what it has, let me take this out, still not 100% quick on inserting and inserting these books yet, because like I said, everything's a little bit backwards. So each side of this has one of these, and you slip the month that you're working on in there. You open this up to the it's the middle of the book, but it's the first month. And then you take the back cover and you slip it through here. You do the same with the front one, and then you pull it all the way through until it won't pull any further. Okay? And then it closes up like that. Now, we've got our first month like that. We open it up to where we are, and we open this up to the middle like that. So this is the view. This is the complete view that you can get from this planner. And this is February, the week that I'm working on, the month, minus the week that's gone by, because I've already done a week in here. I'm on the second week of February, sorry. So I'm seeing the remainder of the month, and then I am seeing the next month. Whoops, I have that turned the wrong way. There we are. So I can write down anything that's going to happen next month. So if I'm in January, or this is February, so if I'm in February and I go to the doctor and they want me to make an appointment a month later, I can actually write it down in my calendar that I'm going to use. At the very back of each book, not the very back of each book, is this very large memo page. So if I was at the doctor's and they wanted to see me in 3 months, so, sorry, it isn't complicated to do. It's just talking about it is making it, filming it is making it awkward. So if I was in February and the doctor wanted to see me in 3 months' time, I could just flip to the very back of this and make the note of when my appointment is. Then, when I switched out this book, this one would move up here, and the new book would slip into here. If that appointment was happening that month, I could write it in. If it wasn't, I would go to the back and I would write it down again. So I may be carrying some things for a few months till I actually get to the booklet that it's in, but at least I can reference my upcoming things. If you're a bullet journaler, this is in a grid. It's a very small grid. I'd probably say a 10 by 10. You can make one of those little charty things on here if you want it. So so that's how it works. And each month, I should say each week, you finish this week off. We have a little memo space up here to take some notes. The first month, here, let me take this off. The first month, which is here, and no, I can't do that. So this is how the book looked when I first opened it. The first month is just like this. There is no memo section at the top. So you could very easily just go to the back of the book, because the front book has a memo section, and write it there. I didn't need to. And, you know, that's what you could do. It's only for the first week. So now that we're seeing this week, I am decorating this. It's my everyday carry, and I enjoyed doing the decorating in the Big Happy Planner, and since I'm not doing it there, I'm doing it with my everyday carry. Now, I have found that if you use printable Erin Condren stickers, you can print them out to 70% and you get the perfect size for using in this planner, which is probably, I don't have a Hobonichi Weeks, so I don't know if these are anywhere near the same. They probably aren't. So this book, these, I guess people call these swimming lanes, where you've got the time to the end. These start at 6 a.m. in the morning and finish at 11 o'clock at night. So they don't include the sleeping hours. Yeah, so I've just been decorating it with an Erin Condren printable that I printed out myself onto copy paper and cut and glued. And that's the way I do it. And I belong to a group, I'll just say, give credit for this spread right here. I am getting my printables from VictoriaThatcher.com, and she provides free Erin Condren layouts several of them every month. Believe me, if you join her Facebook group, which has even more because she keeps stuff in the archives there, you will have stickers for the rest of your life. And if you've got one of those cut machines, you could print it out on printer paper and cut your stickers. And of course, you could always just print on printer paper and cut them out and have them be stickers too. So yeah, I did that, and I used a couple of three stickers. So I'm really pleased with that. So I used Where the Wild Things Are sticker kit for that page, and for this page I have one that uses her original art, and I think it's called something like Winter Besties or something like that. So yeah, I decorate as I go along. So I think I have given a decent review of that. Now, one thing I did find that made flipping to the right page easily was to put a paper clip at the beginning of this month. Then I could always use the clip to have it open to the right page when I was doing this, and I moved the paper clip along on here so that when I first open the book, it turns to the page I'm on as well. So these are my own paper clips that I put in the book, and this is the way that I close it up when it's not in use. And I highly recommend it if you don't need extra stuff in your planner. If you simply look at the months and the weeks and that's it, it's a functional planner, that's it. It doesn't do anything else, and it doesn't claim to. It is on the expensive side, as it's imported from Japan and also not that popular in North America. So yeah, it's a bit pricey, but so far, just the beginning weeks of February, I have really found this to be what I want. So those are my planners. And now we're going to go on to my journals, and I really do not know how long. Oh, here. This is the kit that I'm working on. Or not I'm working on, it's what I'm using for February. It's called, oh, yeah, I cut off the part that said what it was called. So yeah, I keep that in the back of my planner. I'm pretty sure it was called something like Winter Besties. It's one she uploaded in the last couple of weeks. Okay, so as I said, we're going on to the journals, and these are in no particular order. I've got two great big huge piles, and each pile is ordered from biggest on the bottom to smallest on the top, and I'm not going to flip through these. I'm will show you a couple of pages so you can see what I'm doing, but all my journals get flip throughs when they're finished. So this one right here is my tiny art journal. I do little pieces of art in it, like this. I don't know, my light is too high, I think. I'm going to come up here. So I do tiny pieces of art like that, and like, where's another one? And like that. So that's what this one is for, my tiny art. This one right here is my, oh, I should have said that this was I made this myself, and it's a junk journal. It's just got all sorts of pages in it, mostly, well, I'm ripping it, mostly text, but some pictures and stuff too. I just used a variety of little scraps of papers and put them in. It doesn't have any scrap paper in it though, it's all vintage papers. This here is my reading journal, though not really. What it is a list of series and authors that I'm reading. I like to read, I like to find an author that I like and then read their books in chronological order, though sometimes I'll find a new author and start with like their 6th book and read their 7th one, and then I decide I like them and I go back to the beginning and I read all their books in order. So I use Goodreads, and the link to my Goodreads profile is down below in my description if you want to follow me. I use that for tracking and everything, but I like the paper book. So this right here is by Tomorrow's Treasures, which is a division of Thomas Nelson. Now they're a religious publisher, but the book has no religion in it at all. It's just a plain lined paper. It has a little fancy squiggle up there, and the lines are light green. So what I am doing with this, and I don't have much filled up yet because I haven't gone back and written down all my lists, but I'm working on it. It won't be too long until this book is full. So what I do is I write down a series or an author. So this is Karen Slaughter, and then she has a series which we call Will and Sarah, or Will Trent series, and it's also got a couple other names. So I've written down all her books in the order that she wrote them. And in between the series books, she's had some standalones, so I wrote those. Then back to the series, and so on. And I've written this all the way down until her next book is due, which comes out in August of this year. Now, this is a good page to explain my color coding. I highlight all the names of the page in green, and I have my little what do you call it, code listed here and what they mean. Then I highlight in pink the name of a series and of every book that belongs in the series. You see right here, I don't know, I think I'm gonna zoom in on this so you'll be able to see better. You'll see that these don't have pink. That's because they're standalones. Then in gray, I write down all the books that I've already read at the point of me entering it in this book. And then when I have read a book after entering it into this book, I highlight them in this highlighter. I think it's the orange. Oh no. I think actually I've been alternating between yellow and orange fluorescent because I can't tell by looking at it. So yeah, so this page shows everything. This one right here is an author who I've read all her books, and she has nothing new coming out in the next year. This one has some new authors on them that they've only written a few books each, so I fit 3 people on one page and left enough room for a couple more books, because this might actually last me a few years. So yeah, this author, I had read her first and her last book, but I hadn't read the book in between, so I went back and did this. This author right here, I'd read her first book, and in the meantime, she had written 2 more, which I hadn't read, so I got myself caught up. This author right here, I read her first 2 books and loved them, so I looked up and she has a new book coming out in June this year, and so on. I've been doing that. This is the page I'm on at the moment. And then I'm also keeping a books read page right here. I will glue it into the book at the point at which it gets full. It's got 36 spaces on it, and I got it from www.startsat8.com, and it's called the Books I've Read Bullet Journal. So yeah, I just printed it out, and I'm writing in on the spines the names of the books as I read them. And I have read 12 books, I think, so far this year. Okay, this is going to need a part 1 and a part 2. I can tell at this rate. This is my pen and marker inventory, though I haven't really done my markers for coloring. I've just kind of done like felt tip pens. And so each page is the name of a company. This is Papermate. These are the pens I have and the colors. And I write on one side of the page and I leave the back empty so that I can go onto it like this. I have a lot of pens by Uniball. Goes onto that side. And I am pretty much, where's this from? Well, that's just a little note. So yeah, I'm pretty much full. I've only got a handful more pages left to get new companies, but it should still last me quite a while because I've got lots of room to write in pens. I started off with a small book like this to see if it would work, and this is a Cavallini Papers and Company book. I've got one other journal by them. Okay, so then next we come to my Hobonichi A6. This was my first year trying a Hobonichi, and since I was all set up with my my planner, and I also have a way that I do my daily journaling, and this would not be suffice because I don't use 1 page a day in my journaling. I use as many pages as I want to. So this is the Hobonichi that I got, and what I am using this for is for watercolor lessons. I am working from a book called Watercolor Workshop, which I forget who it's by. First name is Sue or Susie, or I don't know. I'll put the book down below in the links. So yeah, that's what I'm using my Hobonichi for, and that's what I'm using it for, to do my watercolor lessons. And to find out that, yes, I do love a Hobonichi. The next journal is a recollections version of the new notebooks that Happy Planners come out with. This is obviously not a Happy Planner. It is the recollections version. And I am just using this. It's actually a day-by-day schedule book, this one. I don't know if the Happy Planner has this version. I know they have blank paged ones, but this is a day-by-day book, so you could easily use this as a Hobonichi. They're undated. And yeah, this book would definitely work as a Hobonichi. So what I'm using this for is just notes. Last year, I tried to cut down on the notes that I leave all over the house. I write notes for everything, all sorts of weird things. And oh, I'm also doing my unboxing samples in here too. Anything that I would need a scrap piece of paper. Now that hasn't stopped me using scraps of paper. I still have lots of them all over the place, just like this right here proved. But last year doing this did help me really cut down, and having a nice book like this. And I'll have to tell you, the paper in here is nice. It's really nice paper. It's thick. I haven't found anything that bleeds through it. Of course, I wouldn't try an alcohol marker on here because they bleed through everything except for paper specifically made for using that type of media. But yeah, I'm enjoying writing on that paper. Now this here is a 2015 academic agenda that I used when I was homeschooling my son. And I'll have to tell you, I really enjoyed this. The company does not exist anymore. It was a beautiful mess. If you're in the scrapbooking community, you probably have heard of them. They changed their name and they do other stuff now. But this is probably one of my most favorite planners I ever used. And let's see. It was just a very simple space per day. Here's a page I didn't use, but I did use a lot of it. It would start like this. You'd get a to-do list. You'd get your weekly. And then you'd get your weeks like this. Well, what do I do with a planner that I'm finished with from 2015? I turn it into a journal. And I turned this one into an art journal. At one point, I was using it as a day-by-day collage journal. I have no idea what year this was, but oh, you know what? I think it was the year afterwards because the dates are one day off. So I didn't care what day it was. I just changed the dates, and every day I did a little collage. So I did that for a little while. That would be 2016 that I did that. But now that all these years have gone by, I am using this as my current wipe-off book. And that means that when I'm painting or arting, instead of just wiping up and throwing away the paint or medium that's left over, I wipe it off in my wipe-off book. And I'm basically just starting at the back, and these pages are not meant to be pretty, but they are meant to be backgrounds for starting off. Art collages. So that's an idea for you if you haven't already come across that. And yeah, I just keep working through this until it's full. Then that day it will end up being my journal. And I guess I should put the ribbon in here somewhere. There we go. Alright, so that's that. This right here hasn't changed since the last time I showed it. This is my prayer journal, and I was going to use something different the last time I introduced this, but I honestly haven't done anything with it. Sometimes I carry it in my purse. I just love the size of it. This is a, well, it was a Sudoku. I have such a hard time saying that word. I want to put the U's where the O's are and the O where the U's are. Oh, Sudoku. There we go. That's what it was originally, and it's made with this awesome flocked paper. And if I can find out the name of the company in here somewhere, I will tell you. I've covered up at the front. Yeah, I covered it up. It's underneath of there. There's a membership to the Puzzle Society at the back, but I cannot tell you who this is by. So it's a gorgeous, gorgeous notebook. I love it. Well, it was a puzzle book, but now it's a journal. And yeah, so I'm just putting things in here. Read an interesting article, just clipped it onto the page, and I can go through here and look at the pictures, say the prayers, take a look at the articles, and that kind of thing. My problem with this book was that I was gessoing all the pages, and I got sick of doing that. So I'm just going to go back in here, and I'm just going to use the puzzles as the background. I'm going to try it anyways. Or I could always cover the page with paper. So yes, I'm going to get back into doing that. That's why it's in this year's pile. Then this is my Happy Mail friendship journal, and if someone sends me some Happy Mail, then I make a collage in here using only items that you send me, and then I dedicate the page to you by putting your name and where you're from. I won't say this person's last name, but this is from Melissa in New York State. That's all I'll say. And I'll show you one more page. So there, we have this one. And this one is from Lynn in BC. And so if you send me a package of collage elements, then just contact me at my email address down below if you would like to do that. And I'll send you my address, and we can exchange collage bits, and I will make a page for you in my friendship journal. Okay, next is my current daily journal. And I think I've showed this once before, but it actually has a piece of fabric wrapped around it, but I'm not using it because it's annoying to have to open and close it every day. Now, I made this out of a little golden book. It's a junk journal that I made out of a little golden book. And I really made this skinny so that I would have room to expand. But I am only just over the halfway mark of the first signature. And look at it. You know, when this is finished, it's going to be like this. So, part of me wants to take out the second signature, and I would if this wasn't a little golden book. But I've spread the story between both signatures, so I'll show you. I'll just open up somewhere here. I've been posting some of these on my Instagram, so if you'd like to get like to see this kind of spread from me, join me over there. It's listed down below. So yeah, every so often, and this is the only time I did it, I stuck something on it. Otherwise, I'm leaving them plain. It's the story, so you can read the story in order in here. And then when it gets to the middle of a signature, whoops. Yeah, here we go. When it gets to the middle of the signature, I have the middle of one of the signatures from the original book. So it goes like that, and I continue on. So yeah. And also this year, since it is the year of the pig, I've got that little guy right there from Toy Story. I don't know what his name is besides Pig. But I am going to carry him around all year in my everyday carry, so he'll always be present. Not the other ones. The other ones get switched around. Since this is farm themed, I used the flowers, and this just came with my January thing. Okay, so that's my everyday carry. So let's continue. I'm going to have to move this pile now because I don't have room. Alright, the next journal is my current glue book. I'm just gluing 2 pages together and working on my glue book. These are some images and papers that I have that I'm working on. So this book, I work from the front, and then I work from the back, and I go back to the front, back. That way it stops your spine from breaking and from your book getting too warped when you're using a hardcover book like this. And this is really old. It's made in Taiwan, and it is Dainty. Yeah, it's made by Dainty in Taiwan, and this is the Caper Cat. So I guess he's one of their mascots. It came originally with, first half of the book is pink pages, second half of the book is green pages, but I'm totally covering up each page to do a glue book spread on. And I am, get the page I'm on, put this stuff back. Okay, now, the next we have a planner that I am using. I'm using it as a daily. I'm using this as a daily. But what I'm using it for, my word of the year, and I have never ever done a word of the year before. I just don't really get the concept, and I'm not into words like gratitude and self-awareness and change, or, you know, all those wisdom, that those kind of words just don't work with me. You know, move your ass would be a better phrase for me than any of those other ones. Sorry for the language. So I do have a word this year, and it's learn. And that is because I had quite a few things in my arsenal that I wanted to learn. And I kept, every year it'd be like, oh, I hope this year that I can learn to do this, or I can learn to do that, or I have to start someday, I would like to learn how to blah, blah, blah. So anyways, I decided, you know what, this year I am going to learn some stuff. So I showed you my Hobonichi, where I'm starting to teach myself how to watercolor. And this book right here is not necessarily learning, but I am practicing my handwriting. So this is a Midori date book, and it is the A6 size. They come in smaller pocket ones, which do just have monthly pages, but this one has a month spread like this. First of all, it gives you I think October, November, and December. And then it gives you a month, and then it gives you the weeks. So it actually is like a part of a Hobonichi weeks, but it just has the monthly page and the weekly pages. So what I'm doing in this one is I'm putting two things together into it. One thing I've always wanted to do in my everyday journal, I call it my daily creative journal. One thing I've always wanted to do in those is put a word of the day, but I never got around to it. So what I'm doing with this is I'm doing word of the day. I've joined the email list for the Merriam-Webster dictionaries word of the day. After looking at several, that's the one that I liked the best. So, oh, don't you hate that when your mind just totally blanks? So anyways, this one I ended up having to get from, I don't know. I can't remember where it came from, but I saw these when they originally came out, and I had no reason to get one. Then when I decided that I just absolutely had to have one, they were all sold out everywhere. And so I had to search high and low to find somewhere that had one that I liked, because I didn't want the dog or the cat one, because I'm not an animal person, and I didn't want the flower ones. So that left a few others that I liked. And pretty much everywhere was sold out of everything except for the flower ones. And one place had the dog one. So finally I found somewhere that had a few of them, and this is the one I got. It is called Vehicles, and every month it takes a form of transportation, and then it has some funny pictures on each page. And January, they paid a tribute to it being the year of the pig, so the mode of transportation in January is wild boars, which is really fun. So anyways, enough about the journal itself. I'm writing down the words of the day, and then I started this on the 11th. There we go. I started here. So then the other thing that I wanted to do was I wanted to improve my handwriting, my cursive. And I learned to write cursive. I'm, from that era where we all wrote in cursive. I homeschooled both of my children, one all the way through and the other one halfway through. And altogether with those two, I think I went through 3 handwriting programs, and each time they learned a new handwriting, because it's very hard. If you've homeschooled, you know how hard it is to teach boys cursive, and you need to find one that works for your child. You can't just say, hey, you're going to learn to write cursive this way. You really need to pick a good cursive program that will suit your child. So enough about homeschooling. Oh my goodness. I can just blab on and on and on, and I have probably lost you all by now. But anyways, so what I wanted to do is get a uniform writing, pick the best way I like to write each letters. It doesn't matter if one letter I do the way that I was taught as a child, the next letter I do in the italic style, next one I do in the handwriting without tears style, and the next one in the Abeka style. I just wanted to pick a uniform for me handwriting. And I'm also using a fountain pen to do this. For January, I used the Preppy. And you can already see a difference. This was my first page, and it's a mess. So on this side of the page, I write the word of the week, the word of the day, and then I write a definition of what the word is. The reason I picked the Merriam-Webster one was because it had a good selection of words that I didn't actually know what the meaning of them was. I'm well read. I have a good vocabulary. So some of them I know what every word is. This one, every now and then, I do know what the word means. I really wanted to use Oxford Dictionary because I'm Canadian and British by birth, and I feel that British English is, sorry to say this, but not sorry. I think British English is better, and I want it to have British spellings, but the Oxford Dictionary's word of the day sucks. All the words are like antiquarian and not in use and obsolete. So I really don't need to know what the Middle English called their shoes, and I don't need to have a word that comes from the 1700s that nobody uses anymore and doesn't even know what the thing is that it's talking about. So yeah, that one didn't work for me. So here we have on Sunday, January 13th, the word was clement, which means merciful, lenient, or mild. And then I started getting into the pages looking like this. And I love that they're already decorated each day. Each week it gives me a little smile to look at that. Now here you can tell I've gotten the hang of it. And yeah, I'm starting to get pretty pleased. Now I have switched to a Pilot penmanship pen, and it is a much finer nib. So I need to learn all over again how to write with this in this finer font, or whatever you call it. So yeah, my handwriting is messy again, but I'm going to learn how to do that. And I'm using this this little guy here that I got from Zen Pop last month as my writing board. Very nice. And this guy I got from AliExpress, so I can have the little legs showing. So that's that one. And I think that what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep filming here, but I'm going to divide this up into different parts. So I'm not just sure how long I want the videos to be. So at some point this will abruptly end, and I guess I'll see if I can leave a text card up saying to go on to part 2, and then I don't know, it might be two parts or it might be 3 parts, because, well, no, I've started the second pile, so you know what, I'm gonna say goodbye. That's what I'll do. So goodbye at this point, and I am going to do the rest of the pile, which is about the length of what we've done now if I keep talking the way I'm talking. So if you made it this far with me, then congratulations to you for putting up with me for so long, and I sure would appreciate your thumbs up. And if you haven't already, subscribe down below and follow me on to part 2, which is going to be even more interesting than part 1 was. So in the meantime, until next time, bye-bye.